and welcome to QuiltMoxie, the podcast, where QuiltMoxie meets Craftsy.com, an online community dedicated to providing the best education and resources for crafters. Join me, Ariana, your host, and come along on my video journey where I participate in the Craftsy online classes and community. Meet up with us online at QuiltMoxie.com or at your favorite hangout, Craftsy, Ravelry, Facebook, Twitter. Check the credits at the end of the show for more. You can also subscribe to our mailing list to get your next and every episode with show notes delivered directly to your email as soon as the episode is available. It's as simple as dropping your email address and checking Receive Podcast by email. Welcome to show 20, and we're in 2015. Welcome, everybody, and if this is your first time, thank you for checking us out. Today, we're talking top-down Icelandic sweater, but we're going to start by talking about prizes. And I'm going to wrap up our show by going into the gallery, and yes, there is an Etsy shop coming your way. So let's get started by talking about prizes. Last year, we had our first ever prize winner from our email subscribers. So if you are getting your podcast by email, you had the chance to win a Yazzie organizer from Yazzie.com. And that's exactly what happened. The winner was from our mail list. And Wendy has selected the 2-in-1 block storage organizer by Yazzie.com, which was the latest offering for the quilt world. And I did connect with her, and she is thrilled. She's absolutely delighted. In fact, the bag was more than what she expected. Although I did a demo on our podcast to show what the block storage organizer was all about and the size, etc. She just was blown away when she received it from Yasmita. So, yay! And this year, we're planning to do more prize giveaways. Yasmita has given me 3 other organizers that I can give away throughout the year. So that's what I'm planning to do. And I'm not sure how we're going to organize that, but we have more prizes in store this year. And on that theme, I was thinking, Vicky last year had opened a thread in our QuiltMoxie, the podcast Ravelry group, and she named it What I Learned from Craftsy. Now, that got me to thinking, and it made me think that it would be kind of fun to have your personal Craftsy Club. So you've seen everything that I've been doing with Craftsy, but I haven't actually had the chance to see what you guys are doing with Craftsy. And I thought that would be a fun way to sort of check what we're both doing. And the idea came while I was watching the Traveling Sock Knitter podcast by Hannah. And I contacted Hannah because she had something called the Personal Yarn Club. And every month you would just finish whatever you were working on and be eligible for prizes. And that's how she did that. And I thought that was so much fun. And I asked her if it was okay if I would sort of change her sort of Personal Yarn Club and turn it into the Personal Craftsy Club. So we're going to do that in our Ravelry group. And all you have to do is whatever project you're doing with whatever Craftsy class you're following, post it in the thread, and we're going to have some prizes. Now, Hannah was doing it every month, and I'm not ready to do it on a monthly basis. I just want to try it out. We'll try it for the first 3 months of 2015. So I'm going to open a thread in the Ravelry group, and it'll be your personal Craftsy Club. And you just post a picture of your finished Craftsy project and what class you were working you are doing it from, and anything else you'd like to share with the group. And this way I get to see what you guys are doing as well, and you get to see what I'm doing here on the podcast. And I think it would be a lot of fun to do that. So yeah, go ahead, post your finished Craftsy projects and win a prize. And I'll probably do the drawing towards the end of March. All right, so let's talk about the top-down Icelandic sweater by Ragga Eiriksdottir. I'm not going to say her last name again, I'll just call her Ragga. And that is one of the sweater classes that I'm doing now in Craftsy. And it's to do with the Icelandic wool. Now, so far in my Craftsy journey, I've done 3 sweaters. And my first ever one was the Fair Isle Vest by Mary Jane Mucklestone. And that's where I learned how to do, well, Fair Isle, stranded knitting. I did my first crocheted steek, which was a lot of fun. And yep, that was my first knitting class with Craftsy. And then when I started this podcast, I went onto Celtic Cables by Carol Feller, and I did a cable. I did an Aran sweater. It was bottom up, and I used my mom's Irish wool from her friend who brought it back from Ireland, and knit up a cabled cardigan. I don't think I steeked that one. No, I don't think so. And then the third cardigan that I did was the Crazy Lace cardigan by Myra Wood. Now, by that time, I had decided I wanted to steek again. Although Myra didn't show how to steek her Crazy Lace cardigan, that's how I did my cardigan. So what I've done so far is 1 Fair Isle sweater or vest, 1 cable sweater, and 1 lace sweater. And it's taken, it looks like I've come full circle and I'm back doing Fair Isle and steeking. This is a cardigan using Lettlopi wool. And let me just get the ball that's attached to the mannequin behind me. And it's very unusual. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the way the wool looks here as I'm holding it up to the camera. But it's got it doesn't have much of a twist. And you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. In fact, these gloves, again, these fingerless mitts are made up by using sock yarn and Susie Rogers' fingerless reading mitts. And I had to wear these gloves because this wool, I found it was scratchy as I was knitting. And I could actually knit using the fingerless mitts. So I was kind of surprised that the wool was this scratchy. The first thing that I did when I started this project was, although I haven't talked about the custom yoke sweater by Amy Detjen, I did take her advice and swatch up a cap. And so I did a little hat out of the wool, and I used mostly yellow because there's hardly any used in the actual project. And I didn't buy any extra wool. By the way, I did get this wool from Craftsy.com, so you can buy the kit through Craftsy.com. And I swatched up the cap. So the first thing I did was I put on my crocus cast on around the rim, which is what I've put up here. And I'll show this closer to you, the mannequin, after I finish talking about my little swatch cap. And then I did some ribbing, which would be the equivalent to doing the ribbing around the neck on the actual cardigan. And then I tested out some Fair Isle motifs on the hat. And for the cardigan, Ragga talks about putting in short rows in the form of a smile. And I did that on this little hat. So what you will not be able to see, from what I think you won't be able to see, is on the back here there are a couple of rows of short rows. And I'm not sure how I'm going to show you the difference, but here you'll see that from here to here is shorter than, let me turn it around, from here to here. And what this means is that I added some short rows, which is what Ragga suggests, to help with the fit of the cardigan. And when I finished this little hat, it was actually, so the top of it is mimicking basically the yoke collar. When I finished it, it pretty much looked like a little teepee. But what I learned after I blocked my swatch hat was this wool will shape into anything. It was incredibly pointy, which you will not be able to see. The other thing that I was worried about was, how is this going to block, because just knitting it was a bit scratchy for me. And I was worried that, you know, I'm going to make this cardigan and I won't be able to wear it because it's too scratchy. So I tested out my cap by wearing it. And I can report to you that -12 was the coldest I went out with my hat. And it really, really keeps you warm. So with the short rows in the back of the cap, I think there's a benefit. Now, I didn't use a lot of wool because I didn't have any extra, and I'm sort of playing yarn chicken with my cardigan at this point because it's kind of a bigger swatch than usual. I'm going to try it on. So the only way that I can wear this hat, because I made it tinier or small, is sort of by keeping your bangs or wearing it backwards. And the short row, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see. I'm going to turn sideways. So the short rows in the back sort of make the motif sit higher up. And I think it looks kind of cute like that. I'm not sure if you can hear me when I'm talking to my window here. So yeah, I was saying that the short rows in the back, I think, make the motif look really nice. Like it falls very nicely on your head. So this is how I would wear this hat, and this is how I tested it in our really cold winter. And I'll see how long I can wear it during the podcast if I suddenly get itchy. But I did test it, and wearing it, I didn't find that it was all that itchy. And to add to the itch factor, I'm also wearing my Clarus Shawl with beads, which is made out of Shetland wool. So I find that the Lettlopi wool is slightly scratchier when I was knitting it up than Shetland. But they sort of feel similar when you're wearing them. So what I'd like to do now is get closer to my mannequin and tell you a little bit more about what happened when I started knitting the top-down Icelandic sweater. So you'll notice that I've completed the sleeves. And I think that from now on, I'm going to either start with the sleeves, if it's bottom up, or when I'm going top down, do the sleeves before I do the body. And that's what I did here. You're going to notice here is where the steek is. I don't know if I can bring this any closer. Woo. Here you go. So here's the steek in the front. And I was reading through the discussions from everybody who did this sweater that there are quite a few people that suggested doing more than one steek stitch. I was kind of excited about this project because Ragga actually does it with one steek stitch, and she does the crochet steek technique as well, which is what I did with Mary Jane Mucklestone. But I did take the advice of everybody else, and I put, I think I've got 3 steek stitches. I didn't want to go all the way down to 1, just in case, but I did go to less steek stitches than I did with Mary Jane's class. And the other thing that I can highlight here is my favorite way of sort of separating my repeats. You'll notice here's a piece of sock yarn that I wove in after each repeat, so I could easily keep track of where all the repeats were. And I did finish the sleeves, and what's exciting about the sleeves, I am so thrilled with this, and I would really like you to be able to see this. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. So we're going to look at her underarm. The underarm area, I don't know if you're going to see any of this, was done by using Judy Becker's Magic Cast On. And it is seamless. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the cardigan and resume the filming so that I can show you closer some of the details. But before I do that, I'll show you the back, just so that you can see sort of the motif where we're at so far. Okay, so let me turn off the camera and take off the cardigan. Just a minute. And we're back. So I've taken the sweater off, and I'll show you close up so that you can see my crocus cast on. It's one of the demos that you're going to find in YouTube. There's a QuiltMoxie YouTube channel, and you can check some of my demos. And you'll see I used the crocus cast on, and I did it in this teal color, and then I did the regular ribbing, and then we went into our stranded color technique. Now, Ragga tells us that Icelandic wool is very special, that you don't want to trap the yarn in the traditional way, which is, I followed her advice, and I did that throughout most of it. Now, I'm going to show you the inside of the sweater. This is not what you usually want to look at. And in fact, you're going to notice that my yarn trapping is very, very loose because I don't want to have any puckering. So I'd like to err on the side of looseness. And knowing what I know from having blocked my cap, this I'm pretty sure is going to disappear once it gets blocked. In any case, when I block it, you will see the inside, and we'll see what we do after that. So I'm going to show you the close-up how loose I stranded. None of the floats are trapped as per Ragga. The only time I decided to trap the yarn was on the 3 color yarns. There is one row, which is where the yellow is, where you're actually knitting with 3 colors. And in a prior show, I had talked about how I do that by doing 2 colors in one hand, and I use the Portuguese knitting technique around your neck for the 3rd color. But this one, I decided I was going to do 2 colors in one hand and 1 color in the right hand. And that's what I did for the 3 color. And for that row alone, I actually used my latest way of trapping floats. And again, there's a demo on the YouTube channel, which I really like, and I think, not 100% sure, but I think this is what Daniela Nee suggests on how to trap floats. So that's what I did. I'm going to show you close up to show you what it looks like on the inside. Hope you can see that. And I just really think it looks good on both sides, so I was pretty happy with that. And when I do trap the float, what I try to do, based on what Ragga was suggesting, I try to keep the color of the trap behind the same color that I'm knitting. I hope that makes sense. So I'm really looking forward to completing this cardigan. The other thing that this cardigan has that I'm looking forward to is Ragga puts a ribbon behind the button band area, so it covers up your steek. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. And also I used her ribbing. She has, with the pattern, she gives you her technique for doing ribbing, and that's what I did on the cuffs, and I'm going to do it also on the bottom of the cardigan. Now, let me show you why I think it's a good idea to do the sleeves. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to show you how amazing the underarm area looks by using Judy Becker's Magic Cast On. So I'm going to show you the inside of, and you can just see a little bit of thread. So this is the actual underarm area. And let's look on the outside. So here's the underarm. And I'll show you the other side as well. Where is it? Ah, so it's here where my little stitch marker is. So here's the underarm. See that? Very seamless. And here's the other side. Okay, so what I like about doing the sleeves is first of all, I'm doing the sleeves 2 at a time. That's how I knit socks. And the sleeves actually take less time. 2 sleeves, if you do the math, are less knitting than 1 body. So I'm doing them 2 at a time. And what's nice is that you don't have the weight of the entire cardigan if you're going to finish the sleeves first. So you're knitting, 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 and when you turn it, it turns very easily. And I just find it's very practical not to have all that extra weight. Also, as you're knitting your sleeves, you can check to be sure that your gauge is on target. If you're slightly off with your gauge on the sleeve area, I don't think it really matters that much. And more important than all that, doing the top-down cardigan, you can always try it on to see if it's fitting properly. And I think that when you're trying it on with the sleeves, it'll give you a better idea of how it's going to look in the end versus trying it on with missing sleeves. So that's my personal opinion on doing sleeves. I know there's a lot of people that don't like to knit sleeves. So why not do them right in the beginning and use the sleeves to gauge your gauge, to see what you look like when you're trying it on, and while you're still really motivated to doing your cardigan as opposed to leaving it to the very end. Anyway, it's just a sort of a little infomercial on why doing sleeves first might be a good idea. So this is the top-down Icelandic cardigan. Now let me see, did I leave anything out? No, I think that's about where we're at. And hopefully by the next time, I'll have this cardigan all complete. So now let's go into the gallery. I'm going to set up the gallery so that we have more stuff to show you. So we're in the gallery, and you'll notice behind me that we have lots of project bags. So I've been encouraged by your feedback. Several of you have expressed an interest in the project bags that I was sewing up. And Joyce of Aussie Yarning podcast fame and I decided that this year, 2015, we're going to launch our individual Etsy shops. So, of course, I was going to do the project bags, and Joyce does these amazing resin, I think she calls them resin stitch markers and zipper pulls and all sorts of lovely items to accompany your knitting. So we thought it would be a lot of fun to sort of encourage one another and get our Etsy shops up and running. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you some of the project bags that I've come up with to start our Etsy shop. So the first bag I just wanted to show you was the inspiration for a theme that you're going to see going through all of my project bags. And there are a lot of project bag makers out there. So I wanted to do something just a little bit different. And so what you'll notice is a lot of my project bags are quilting related. So here you go. This was originally a quilting project that we had in our guild. And I turned it into our first sort of project bag that I wanted to, that inspired me for the rest of the line that you're going to see now. What I really like about this bag is that it opens so wide and it's got this really cool three-dimensional hanging inside bag. So I've been knitting with this project bag for quite a while. And I really like the way it holds. It's very practical, and now I can see the interest of having your own project bags. Prior to this, I was pretty much using, whatever bag we had, and now I can see how important it is to have a fun project bag. It just makes you feel happy. So this was the inspiration for this line. Now, the next bag that I came up with is sort of the inspiration for 2015 and sort of our collaboration. Joyce had mentioned once on her podcast that she has an interest in frogs, which doesn't mean much to me because I don't know exactly what it is. But I have frog quilter fabric, which inspired my Zen Frog project bag. And because I've been doing sock knitting 2 at a time, and I'm part of the Op Arts knit along group, this is going to be the 2 socks at the same time project bag. It's got 2 interior hanging pockets, which I think are a lot of fun, and they're so practical. I've been testing these project bags. I really, really like it, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to give me some feedback on whether or not these hanging bags are of interest to you as well. So I'm just going to quickly show you the rest of the bags. This is going to be for a giveaway. Of course, I have a little tiny cube with a zipper as well. I don't know. I just like the color of the fabric, and it made me happy. I do have a little interior, a middle pocket. I'm not sure if you can see it here. So there, you have an inside pocket as well. It's for a tiny project. And let me go on. So here we go again. So after the Zen Frog is my regular tie. And what I did with this project bag was I added handles. So I like the handles. These bags are totally reversible, by the way. I'm not going to show you that now. Maybe I'll add some pictures to show you. And then I went on to my tuxedo. So I was watching Tina from Knitting Blooms podcast, and she had mentioned that she likes the interfacing so that her bag stands up. So the difference between this one and this one is that in this one I added interfacing. So not sure, but I guess it does look a bit better. I don't know. What I did add was a zippered pocket on the back. Ta-da! And it's got two different fabrics because it's got that quilterly effect. So each one of these bags is a little bit on the quilterly side. And this is where Joyce comes in. So Joyce, with her resin, has made these amazing zipper pulls. So these zipper pulls just so happen to have my logo on them. And on the other side is a little barcode that you can scan in and go to our website. But aren't they amazing? So Joyce's aussieyarning.etsy.com Etsy shop should be open. If it's not open yet, you can always contact her if you are making your own bags and you want to get your own zipper pulls or your own stitch markers with your logo on them. I'm sure you can contact Joyce and she'll make some for you too. They're just amazing. I love it. Love it. Okay, so let me show you the other zipper pulls that she... Here's another bag. This is my huge sweater bag. And I've been testing it. I'm not even sure if it's going to fit on the screen. Look how big that is. Again, I've got my amazing zipper pulls here. I have a zipper pull on this side. And I put one here just so that you could see how awesome they are. And what this bag is, it does have the quilterly effect. It's not just one fabric. What I added here was my mesh and a little spot where you can keep your ball band information. I'm not sure if that would be of interest to you, but I thought it was kind of important because I found myself several times looking for information that I would get off the ball band. And so at a glance, you can sort of see through the mesh area here which wool you're working with. I'm going to show you the inside, and what you're going to see are the beginnings of my custom yoke sweater for hubby. And I only have one of these hanging bags on the inside of this particular project bag. So I'm not sure if you need two, but the two was basically... My idea was that you're going to be doing something two at a time. So right now I have 2 finished sleeves and about 8 inches of sweater body in this bag. And of course there's loads and loads of room. And the last bag that I'm going to show you today is sort of experimental because... First of all, in the back here, you can see it's standing up by itself. Because it's made out of upholstery fabric, the inside is quilter cotton. I have the 2 hanging bags. I'm not sure if you can see this here. There you go. And we have, and it's sort of 2 magnetic buttons that sort of snap closed. Let's see if I can go back. But it's a very thick sort of upholstery fabric on the outside with the wooden handles. So let me know if this is of interest to you. I just had these handles and the fabric, and I just said, well, let's try it out and see what we can come up with. So this is sort of the beginning of our Etsy shop for project bags that I think might be fun to have. And they all have a little bit of quilter detail that I'm pretty proud of. As I'm populating the Etsy shop, I'll be adding some of my other products, such as I have a couple of quilting patterns. I have my quilting tool that's going to be coming out soon. I'm so excited about that. Who knows? Maybe I'll put in some watercolor paints. Never know. And in my case, I'm going to be having a grand opening for the Etsy shop. And the reason I want to do that is because I would like to offer these project bags to you, the audience, the viewers of our podcast. So I'll be sending out a grand opening sort of notice to our podcast by email subscribers first. And you'll have the first chance to take a look at my Etsy shop. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you to let me know what you like in a project bag. And yeah, of course, I haven't quite figured out all of the options in Etsy. I know that you can do custom orders. I'm not sure how that all works. So I'm just going to put these bags into the Etsy shop. And if there's anything that you like or any combination that you would like to have, such as maybe you don't want any internal pockets, or you want to have only one or two, or zippers on the outside of the project bag, or just the zippered wedge project bag, that's fine too. Maybe you like the handles, or you prefer drawstring, or whatever it is. If you can sort of combine it with the different options, let me know. You can reach me, of course, through my website, and all the information is on the Etsy shop. Just send me an email or communicate with me, and we can come up with something until I can figure out how it all works on Etsy. So this is going to be another way that we can support the podcast, because there are costs involved. And I'd like to thank everybody who has been purchasing, for example, Craftsy classes through my website. Yes, I'm a Craftsy affiliate, and I'm very thrilled that I am. And every now and then there are a couple of dollars that come my way because somebody has signed up by clicking on the, I think it's a banner on my website. Actually, I found out that if you do want to contribute to the podcast and you want to do it by buying a Craftsy class because you haven't got it in your current Craftsy catalog, it is important that you do either go through my show notes and click on one of the links, or to my website and click on the banner first. Otherwise, I will not get any, the podcast will not get any money sent from Craftsy. So really, if you're going to, let's say, for example, take the top-down Icelandic class, go to my website, click on the little banner, the little link on the top of the website page that says Craftsy, click on it, and then browse Craftsy all you want, and whatever purchase you do there, in theory, I will get a little bit that I can put towards the podcast costs. So if you'd like to support a podcast, now we have an Etsy shop that you can buy some very fun quilterly project bags and get some amazing stitch markers and zipper pulls from Joyce's Aussie Yarning Etsy shop. And it should be a lot of fun. That's all I have to talk about our Etsy shop. I can't wait. So look out for our grand opening email coming your way soon. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for sticking with me through this Craftsy journey. And I hope you're going to come back next time, where we're going to be doing our custom yoke sweater with Amy Detchen. And I hope that the Icelandic, top-down Icelandic sweater cardigan by Ragga is going to be completed. Woo! So take care. Bye for now. À la prochaine.